Okay, I've got something for you. The new parts have been fitted to the car. The simulation numbers are good, so I look forward to your feedback. Check out the details.
Hello everyone and welcome to part number 12 of this F1 2016 career mode. We're here for round 13 here at Spa-Francorchamps, the home of the Belgian Grand Prix, where at the halfway stage of the season we can see there's been a few upgrades for Force India and for Renault to help them in the pecking order. But I need to point something out first. The last few races I've been without internet since I moved into my new flat for university, and I've updated the game, gone into Belgium, and all of a sudden we're now top of the performance index. So the in-game performance of all the cars has been updated in the update, and it's meant that we've jumped Ferrari and Mercedes despite the fact we were doing a minuscule drag upgrade. So we now theoretically have the fastest car on the F1 grid. It's a bit weird. I don't know whether we do or not in actual reality, because Mercedes have had the fastest car all season. So it remains to be seen how this pans out. As you can see here in track acclimatisation, we almost do. It took us to our third go, but we get pretty much all purple, which is I think it was all purple in the end. So that was pretty nice to do in the end. Tyre wear test, as you can see, it was going very badly, and we weren't going to get any resource points for it. So I decided to stuff it and not do it. Then qualifying pace test. We tried it in FP2, failed it. We tried again in FP3 and failed it again. So we didn't do that either. So here are our resource points from the end of practice. Not great, to be honest.
The gossip columns this morning. Everyone's talking about this new rival you have. Check his stats out.
So we have a new rival. Emma just cut us off slightly there, and it is of course our championship rival Sebastian Vettel. It doesn't surprise me. He was the one I was expecting it to be. The only one I thought it might have been would be Lewis Hamilton, but Vettel makes sense. Here are our session goals for qualifying.
Hi, just letting you know that we've had the team's expectations through for the upcoming qualifying session.
So literally the same as usual. I don't even know why I include this now. It's always fifth, rival and teammate. But anyway, it's time now to head down to the pit lane for qualifying for the Belgian Grand Prix.
It's qualifying time at Spa, one of the mightiest tracks on the Formula One calendar. Long straights, up and downhill, Eau Rouge as well. This track isn't for the faint-hearted.
So here we are in qualifying. This is Q2. We got through Q1 absolutely easily. But our pace all weekend hasn't been very good, so we're taking a risk of trying to get into Q3 on the soft compound tyres. I don't want to start the race on the super softs. The tyre wear around Belgium is just too high. And as you can see now, we come across the line. That puts us P4 for the time being, but we will of course drop down the order, and we just scrape through to the next session. We've just about done it. We finished in 10th, the only car to qualify on the soft compound tyres, so it's a good result so far for us. We've now got to see what we can do in Q3, but in terms of the race we're in a very good position and we're not too far off the pace, so Q3 is going to be, hopefully we can do very well. Here we are on our final lap now in Q3, and as you can see we've got a Ferrari of KIMI Raikkonen all the way right behind us. In fact, he's followed us for the whole lap and he's right behind us at the moment, so that's been putting us off on this lap. And as you can see now, we come to the line, we're currently P10 and we cross the line, and it only puts us P8 despite the fact we were like a second and a half up on our delta time from our first run. It shows how bad the first run was, which is a bit upsetting really. Sebastian Vettel takes pole position from Rosberg, and then Felipe Massa for Williams. Ricciardo proving that the Red Bull is lacking a bit of pace here, down in 4th. Then it's Hamilton, Raikkonen and HULKENBERG up in 7th, and then there's us and Bottas and Alonso. Here are our resource points, which is going to give us a nice helping. It puts us to 375 now, which isn't too bad at all. And as you can see in the rivalry with Vettel taking pole position, it is not going to help us out at all. As you can see, we are now losing the rivalry. And the driver position is also going to suffer because of this, which is a shame. Because of course we didn't beat Ricciardo and we didn't meet our objective of 5th place. So we'll see what our race goals have in store for us.
Hi, guess who? I've seen the team's expectations for the race, so I thought I'd pass them on and wish you luck. Take care.
So the team don't really expect us to do that well in this race. 7th or higher, beat Vettel, beat Ricciardo and finish 6th or higher in the drivers' standings. Bearing in mind that we are leading the World Championship, we should be able to do at least one of those things. But it's now time to head to the grid for the Belgian Grand Prix. I'm going to hand you over to David Croft.
In the 48 races held at Spa between 1950 and 2015, the race winner has only started from pole position on 16 occasions. Qualifying yesterday may have set the order for today, but expect the unexpected here at the Belgian Grand Prix. As the saying goes, of course, anything can happen. And you know what? It usually does. So here we are once again, ready to go racing through the Ardennes forest. 4.35 miles of long straights, fast corners and massive elevation changes. It makes this not only one of the most exciting circuits on the calendar, but one that makes for some consistently high quality racing as well. Simply put it, there really is no place quite like Spa.
Okay, remember to brake early for turn 1 as the pack's going to bunch up. There's plenty of runoff if things get too close.
Sebastian Vettel will start on pole. Fantastic qualifying from the multiple world champion, with Nico Rosberg alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Massa, Ricciardo, Lewis Hamilton and Raikkonen, Hulkenberg and a Red Bull, Bottas and Fernando Alonso, Perez.
So the strategy for today is going to be a one-stop. We don't have the personalised tyre work because I didn't do the test, so we just have to try and hope that the one-stop will work for us. I have a feeling though that knowing our tyre wear and Belgium's tyre wear, if we can do a one-stop, it's going to be tough. Remember, this is of course a 100% race because I did ask you to vote for it. So here we are. We have 5 red lights here in Belgium. Dump the clutch and away we go. And we've had a pretty good start compared to everyone else. We're flying as we head down into La Source. We take the inside line. We're up the inside of is that Lewis Hamilton, the world champion, who's on our left-hand side. We're going to have to give him some room on the outside, and he drives clean passes with a better traction from the super soft tyres. But we're having a look up side by side of Rouge. Ricciardo side by side with Rosberg. They've run wide through Raikkonen, pushed Rosberg off the track. We've somehow missed Hamilton, and we've meant we had to brake going up. They were being pushed onto the grass by Nico Rosberg. Hamilton side by side with Ricciardo. We're trying to go side by side around the outside of Ricciardo. Hulkenberg's up the inside. He's made contact with Ricciardo. We've taken to the escape road, jumped over the sleeping policeman, and moved up into 4th. But we have 2 illegal overtakes on Hulkenberg and Ricciardo, so we let them through, and we've allowed Rosberg, Bottas and Raikkonen through as we now dive it up the inside of Bottas and Raikkonen and take back 7th place. And what a hectic start that's been, and it's meant Massa, Vettel have just bolted away at the front of the field, and we've dropped down, and Hamilton has come out pretty good out of that as well. Hamilton's catching up with the leaders now. We've come out of that in a horrible situation at the moment, all the way down in 7th place. We're starting to chase Hulkenberg and Rosberg now, and the problem was we just got stuck to the outside and then had to take to the escape road when Hulkenberg and Ricciardo started hitting each other into Le Combe. So we've now got to try and rebuild the hard work, and we've got to also look in our mirrors at the same time because Bottas and Raikkonen are hunting us. Rosberg's all over the back of Hulkenberg. He's almost crashing into him, going through Blanchimont now at 212 miles an hour, heading down into the bus stop chicane. We dive it up the inside of the pair of them. If we want any chance to win this race, we need to clear these cars now, and we've done that now at the end of lap 1. We've moved up into P5 in this race, and let's see a replay of that start. For some reason, Massa completely out of his grid slot as well. As you can see, the start we had, we moved straight over to the inside. That was the place to be here at the source. And we take a lovely tight inside line have to leave Hamilton space on the outside. A pretty clean first corner all around. And as you can see, going up towards Eau Rouge, we have to back out of the move on Hamilton. Ricciardo and Rosberg go miles off the track, and it just means that they slow us and Hamilton down, and it means there's a massive concertina effect when Bottas and Hulkenberg arrive on the scene, because they're doing a higher top speed than we are, because we had to slow down. As you can see, the contact between Ricciardo and Hulkenberg, and I don't really know what else we could have done. We were avoiding an accident by taking to the escape road, and is it an illegal overtake? I'm really not sure, to be brutally honest, as we now just dived up the inside of Bottas without a care in the world. To be honest, we had to make that move. We had to get past the Williams. As you can now see, we're on board with my teammates' front wing cam. As you can see, there's contact there between the Mercedes and the Williams and the exit of La Source, and Ricciardo gets right in the slipstream of Rosberg, takes the sort of the inside line of Eau Rouge. Around the outside, they make contact, they make more contact on the exit. How there wasn't a monumental accident, I have no idea. As you can see, the carnage that's unfolding behind us. Hamilton's up the road. We go, Russ and Hulkenberg go either side of him, and Hamilton kind of pinches Ricciardo into Hulkenberg. And we have to avoid the dangers. We can now see the start from Nico Rosberg. He was probably eyeing up a move for first place in this race, but he gets smacked by Massa on the exit of La Source, and it just allows Vettel to skimp away, and it puts Rosberg under pressure from Daniel Ricciardo going up Eau Rouge. And as you can see here, they both go up. Rosberg going one-handed over the top of Raikkonen, throwing up the hand in frustration. As you can now see, there's cars just pouring past Rosberg because he had to slow down on the top of Raikkonen. Cars everywhere. How he didn't plough into anyone, I don't know. As you can see, the contact between Ricciardo and Hulkenberg. And I really do not see how that is an illegal overtake if we're avoiding an accident. Okay, that Ricciardo didn't spin out in the end, but he was sideways when we turned in for Lecom. He was... I don't know, I thought that was harsh. Maybe I should have just taken the penalty on the chin and just gone for it and taken the track position and then suffered a penalty at our pit stop. But I just don't know, to be honest. You can see on board with Hulkenberg, carnage unfolds at the top of Raikkonen, and he just comes through, and there's just so much space. The inside is available. For some reason, we're all on the left-hand side, and we just give Hulkenberg a straight line. We leave him the right hand on the motorway, the overtaking lane, as he gets hit by Ricciardo, and how we would have made it round there on the track is actually impossible. And they're still going side by side through the back end of the commas. We let them through. It's an absolute manic start. Absolutely manic. As we can now see the front wing cam of Lewis Hamilton, the world champion. You'll see us pop up his inside probably in a minute. Or maybe not. As we now thunder down towards Eau Rouge, we should get a pretty good view of the Ricciardo-Rosberg duel in contact of Eau Rouge. And Rosberg's a lucky boy not to be flying into a barrier like Kevin Magnussen did in the real-life Belgian Grand Prix. As you can see from behind Hamilton's car, there's just so many cars all vying for position. It's just a weird one, really, as we're now on lap 5. There's a yellow flag out, and here's why Raikkonen's had contact with Perez, and he's hit Daniel KVYAT. That is a huge accident for Kimi Raikkonen. Contact with Perez at the top of Eau Rouge, and as he slithers back onto the track, collects Daniel KVYAT, who's just an innocent party, and poor Danny KVYAT just cannot get any luck. But incredibly, both cars survive the contact, as there's not much KVYAT can do. KVYAT has no damage. How? How has KVYAT got no damage from that? It's manic, as now we're starting to catch Felipe Massa, who's got a technical problem with his car. Daniel Ricciardo has already overtaken him, and Massa, who was leading the race briefly, is now fallen down into 4th place and is losing pace rapidly. As you can see how much we've gained on him, going through the hairpin there as we now come through this horrible left-hander, I should say. Always tricks you into thinking you can take more speed than you can, and then shoving you into the exit wall. As we now get very close on to hitting the back of Massa through Pouon. We're all over the back of Felipe Massa in the Williams, where we're looking to try and find an avenue to go up the inside. We dive it up the inside. Massa trying to hold it up the inside. We have to take the outside line. We give it up because we don't want to run out wide onto the AstroTurf. And Massa holds on to 4th place for now, but we're still so much quicker at this stage of the Grand Prix. Whether his super soft compound tyres are going off to, I don't know, as we're being forced onto the grass. Jeff was telling me that Massa had a technical problem, so maybe it isn't the tyres after all, as we're trying to find a way around the outside through Blanchimont. We've taken too much speed, we've run wide, somehow haven't hurt towards the walls. We're now going to dive it up the inside. We're losing so much time. We were gaining on Ricciardo, and we've just lost touch to Ricciardo as we clear Massa in the bus stop, and we move up into P4 in this race. DRS for good measure, and he now has to think about Raikkonen and Perez behind. It's now the start of lap 6. We have a couple of cars in the pit lane. I believe that is Daniel Ricciardo. No, Ricciardo stays out, so it must be Hamilton and Vettel into the pit lane to get rid of their super soft compound tyres. And now on the following lap, Daniel Ricciardo, our teammate, is into the pit lane, and we're going to take the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix, doing one less stop at the moment. And we need to keep an eye on Sergio Perez, who started 11th, I don't remember. He was the one who we stopped from getting into Q3. And he's going for the same strategy as us, and Perez, as we know, very good at looking after the tyres on that Force India car. So it's going to be interesting to see how his strategy works out. As you can see, there's a yellow flag, and here's why. Bottas and Ericsson have collided. Bottas has wiped out the Pirelli board as well. And that is absolutely horrible to see for Valtteri Bottas, who's just made a pit stop, come out behind Ericsson. And I'm not sure who's at fault here. Ericsson's tried to force him out wide. Bottas has turned in, and they've made contact. And now Daniel Ricciardo is out of the race here on lap 8 of the Belgian Grand Prix. There's no one around him, so it must be an engine failure for our teammate. Oh, that is an absolute disaster for someone who's been so quick all weekend, as the virtual safety car comes out for Ricciardo. And we've got Vettel right behind us now on fresh, soft compound tyres as the virtual safety car now ends just a couple of corners later, and we've ditched Sebastian Vettel on the Kemmel Straight as we return to racing speed, as we're now having a bit of a moment at the top of Eau Rouge. We've lost the back end going up there, and it's forced us wide, and we're now going to have to defend from the Sebastian Vettel. We take the inside line, but with the DRS he just flies straight past us. We're going to try and dive up the inside, but it's our medium speed corner. We make contact with his side pod, we've caught the car, and somehow we haven't gone spearing into the barrier. There's now one lap later, Lewis Hamilton wants to get a piece of the action. He's battling Sebastian Vettel for the lead of the race, as there's a new fastest lap of the race by Nico Rosberg. We've gone onto the grass slightly as we're desperate to hug the inside line. We're trying to force Hamilton onto the grass a little bit, but he sweeps past us. We once again try the dive up the inside. We're a bit closer this time. We make more contact, and somehow neither of us spin out. Hamilton's probably not going to be Snapchatting me later after a move like that, as now at the end of lap 11 we bail. Now we need to get onto a new set of boots. We're going to the medium compound tyres. The one stop is virtually out of the window at this stage of the race. We hit the pit limiter, lovely, but we've come in way too early for our pit stop. But we had to, just losing ground. Vettel and Hamilton are now a pit stop ahead of us, effectively. And the fact that they've caught up and overtaken us means that we've lost the advantage we had of doing a one-stop race. So converting to a two-stop now we've just shot ourselves in the foot in terms of trying to win this race. It's not going to happen, as we're now coming out behind Pascal Wehrlein in the Manor, who of course qualified in something like P12. So Wehrlein having a great weekend so far, as we now go around the outside of Wehrlein. He's forcing us onto the grass. He's almost banging tyres with us. 207 miles an hour on the Kemmel Straight. As we go around the outside into Le Con, we leave him space so we don't give him the chop on the apex of the corner, and we move up into 5th place as we're now catching Carlos Sainz in the Toro Rosso. Now we're flying at the moment on our new set of medium compound tyres. We're in the slipstream of Sainz in the sister Red Bull. I say the sister Red Bull, the sister team car. Anyway, swiftly moving on from that, we go around go up the inside of Carlos Sainz. Anyway, We now see another yellow flag popping up down by Eau Rouge. Has there been a monumental crash? What the hell has happened at Eau Rouge? We're on board with Esteban Gutierrez, and as we go up the top of Eau Rouge, through Ruddy on the front left tyre has just popped on Esteban Gutierrez's Haas, and that's going to cause a lot of problems now. Gutierrez having to do pretty much a full lap with a puncture as we're now coming through here on lap 18. The virtual safety car is out again. Why has this happened? We're watching Gutierrez again with his puncture, and he's just stopped at the bus stop. I know it's called the bus stop, Esteban, but it isn't actually a bus stop. I know you like to hold cars up, but parking your car is not a good way to make drivers happy. It's just another way to hold them up, and I know you like holding drivers up. It's so bizarre behaviour from Gutierrez's car as the virtual safety car's now ended, and now on lap 24 we've got more yellow flags up ahead. There's been another incident down here at Blanchimont as we come through. Now is that Bottas again? On the right hand side, as he had more contact through Blanchimont as we see him now spinning. I believe he had contact with Ericsson, and then just a couple of corners later Gutierrez is out of the race. And what's happened to Gutierrez? Oh dear lord. I feel for Esteban Gutierrez here. Bottas rejoins the track and Esteban just pile drives him into the bus stop, and Gutierrez once again is waiting for another bus at the bus stop. As now on lap 30 we are now coming through the bus stop. I believe we're going on to a second set of tyres. We've bailed on the one stop. I can tell you that Perez has passed Vettel, who has technical problems, and we were catching Sebastian Vettel at quite a rate of knots. So Vettel has technical problems, so we'll see if they clear up, and it has meant that Lewis Hamilton now leads the Belgian Grand Prix at Sebastian Vettel's expense. That's the second time that's happened this year, and Lewis Hamilton could be heading to a second win of the season because Sebastian Vettel has had technical problems in his Ferrari. Rosberg, by the way, pitted about 4 laps before us for medium compound tyres and has emerged in front of us, and we're trying to hunt him down now. We were at one point only 3 seconds behind, but as the tyres have gone off, he's just pulled away from us. And Raikkonen is catching us now at a vast rate of knots as he sets the fastest lap of the race. But we've managed to hold him at bay. Lewis Hamilton has won his second Grand Prix in a row. Not in a row, second Grand Prix of the season with that at Baku. Sergio Perez has got second place at the venue where Force India got their maiden podium, which was a second place for Giancarlo Fisichella in 2009. Our championship rival and our rival Sebastian Vettel has got third. Rosberg is fourth. We crossed the line for fifth, having started eighth. A full 100% race here in Spa. It's been a tough one, and it's some decent points at the end.
Brilliant stuff from Mercedes today. That's another historic win. Anthony, what do you think made the difference here?
The difference was clearly in the strategy. You could tell they'd done a lot of work on the pit wall to really optimise each stint and get the most out of the tyres. And it highlights just how much of a team sport this really is. But credit to the driver as well though, there's no good having a well-oiled machine behind the scenes without a talented hand on the wheel, of course.
And here are our podium drivers today after that excellent race. They've excelled here as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Mercedes then are on top today. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. It wasn't the best weekend for our championship leader, and their advantage at the top has been reduced. Moving on to the driver of the day then. Anthony Davidson, who would you go for?
Let's give it to Sergio Perez.
I cannot argue with that at all. Sergio Perez, driver of the day, a one-stop, qualified... What the hell is that penalty for Nico Hulkenberg? What? How big is that penalty? And it hasn't even been applied. Bizarre. I would say I've never seen anything like it, but it's no offence, but it is a Codemasters F1 game, and there are quite a few glitches. Anyway, as you can see, here's the running order. DANIIL, Ricciardo and Gutierrez, the only DNFers of this race. Ricciardo with an engine failure, Gutierrez pile driving Bottas. In the championship, we've had our lead cut down yet again by Sebastian Vettel. Hamilton's gained on us quite substantially as well. Rosberg has gained on us. Ricciardo has fallen down the standings, and we somehow still lead the Constructors' Championship, although Ferrari and Mercedes have taken quite sizable chunks out of our lead now, as we now head towards the Ferrari's home race at Monza. We now have 501 resource points. We're saving up for another engine upgrade, I think, because we are still lacking in the straight line speed department. And now in the rivalry, we've set those soft compound tyres at the end of Vettel's problems has meant that we've got a much faster lap than him in the race, so we're now actually drawing the rivalry despite the fact that Vettel beat us in the race. And the first driver is going to go quite in our favour, because we beat Ricciardo because he retired and we beat our objective for the race, so we're back in the purple there somehow. I don't know how. We've had a terrible weekend, and we've actually gained bits in the driver position, and we're not losing the rivalry. So we now have a message from our agent.
Hi, Emma here. I had a sit down with the executives today to talk about your progress. Long story short, they're happy. Keep it up.
So we're doing all the good things we can do for the team. They're happy with us. We are still leading the championship, although it's been a tough race for us. Look at that second third of the season. I did say this third of the season was going to be tough. This race, by the way, it was on Ultimate AI as well. I don't think I mentioned that. This race was on Ultimate AI, so we have made the switch. So 5th place I'll take, to be honest. But guys, thank you very much for watching. Take care. I will see you in Monza. Goodbye.
Make me feel like a rebel.